Hey everybody out there, Sam Dennehy, aka Halfasskustoms. This episode is going to be a part two of an interview I did, maybe in the first season. I think it was in the first season. Either way, our famous, our guy who knows everything about these vehicles, the main man who I don't know what else to say. He's the guy that if you have a question about this certain vehicle, he's the one you go to. It's his forte, it's what he likes to build, and he's really good at it. Tonight's guest is Theodore Campbell for the second time. We're going to talk about most likely more buses. I'm going to show him this Rapido bus that they sent me, and we'll talk about that, see his thoughts on that one, and I'll probably even open this on the episode. But we'll talk about buses, talk about anything else cool about this scale hobby, and we'll get to know Theodore a little bit more. So stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, Sam Dennehy, aka Halfasskustoms, and like I said in the monologue, our special guest Theodore Campbell. We know a little bit about Theodore from the first interview, so Theodore, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and what you're up to lately these days with the modeling?
Okay, well, what's going on, everybody? I appreciate Sam for bringing me back. Like you see in my previous video, I'm pretty much the bus guy, I guess, in the 187 group. But trust me, there's a real big group of us that do or collect bus models and stuff like that. And I guess I just represent them in the 187 scale group. But I would say since the last time we spoke, I haven't really been doing much modeling, like actually custom buses per se. I've been doing more collecting because Icon and Replica's been releasing a lot of different buses lately. But I've been actually trying to get more into the diorama side of it because I was actually getting tired of seeing some of my pictures in the same garage. Even though it's cool, but I wanted to try to do something different.
No, I get that totally. I was building that world headquarters garage for Halfasskustoms.
Right.
Man, that thing was driving me crazy, and I just stopped and gave up on it. Sitting right here in my room, and I should get back to it. I just want to tear it down and start anew. I don't even want to keep going with the original idea.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, I got tired of seeing that same garage, even though I love it. That's my garage, but I wanted something different. You know, I'm a bus collector, and most people see buses on the road. They don't see them at the garage. Only the drivers and the mechanics see the bus at the garage, but they don't.
Right.
Most people, when they see buses, they see them out in the world doing stuff or dropping off people.
Yeah, like at a terminal.
Right.
You should build yourself a terminal.
You know, it's funny. I want to build a terminal, but the terminal I want to build is so outrageous that I don't think it could be done. I want to build Port Authority down in New York City.
Oh, wow.
But that would take up my whole house. It would take up my whole house.
Yeah. Just don't do Port Authority. Do a futuristic triple, quadruple layer terminal where they just drive up a hill and get up right on top of the other terminal that's right below it. It could just be futuristic, or just make a whole hover scene terminal with all your buses just, hovering off the ground, and then they can just float up to the terminal.
Right.
Now I'm just going crazy. Don't listen to me. Man, that would be a big one though. If you were to do that, I wonder if somebody's actually done that, like Miniature Wonderland or any of the big train museums on the East Coast out here. I don't know, because I'm not a bus guy. I wouldn't even pay attention to it if they did. But
Right.
I wonder if somebody has or attempted to do part of it.
Well, back when the Twin Towers were still around, not the new one, the original Twin Towers
Yeah.
in New York. If you went up to the top floor, they actually had a diorama of the whole New York City, Manhattan.
No kidding.
Yeah, they actually
I
did.
never knew that.
So I'm assuming if they had the whole New York City, they had to have Port Authority on
But
42nd
what
Street.
scale was that model? Was it like an N scale so you can get the whole
Yeah,
city, or was it HO, or
yeah,
was
it
it
had to be
HO?
smaller than 187.
Right. I mean,
Right,
technically, you probably didn't need it smaller, but if you didn't want to take up that whole entire floor from like window to window, you
right.
know, maybe you needed it smaller. Because I think you could have probably did it in HO. It just would have literally took that whole floor where you couldn't even walk in there.
It was huge. I'm gonna tell you, it was huge. It was huge.
That's crazy. I never been. I've been to the new one,
Okay,
the
yeah,
memorial, but I
mhm,
never got to see the Twin Towers in real life because I was on the West Coast, and I
right.
think that would have been just one time with my own eyes. I think that would have been pretty cool. It's like Empire One or whatever they call that building.
Right.
We went to New York one time. I saw it once. I went to the top, and I know in my heart I never ever need to go back ever. I
Well,
don't
the
even want
Twin
to go back
Towers
to New
was
York
kind of
City.
creepy to me because when you was on the top floor, you actually could feel it moving, which was kind of weird.
Oh yeah, they built it old school style. You know, the
Yeah,
Stratosphere in Vegas is that way.
right.
That big, huge, tall one, and that thing moves, if I'm not mistaken, 15 to 20 feet in each direction according to the wind. So when
Okay,
you're on top, you literally feel that thing moving.
right. The Twin Towers were the same way. You could feel it moving.
That would have
And a
been
lot of people that
fascinating.
work there, they said, yeah, we work here every day. This is just something you just get used to.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's like when the earth shakes, that's
Right,
something you get used to out there in California.
right,
If it ain't hard enough, you don't even worry about it. Even
right,
when it is hard enough, you still sometimes don't worry about it. But
right.
just like out here, we have hurricanes and we get tornado warnings and we get all this stuff that happens out here in the Carolinas that the West Coast don't have. And it's just daily life.
Right, right,
It's just what you let your body get used to. So like they were
correct.
working on top of the Twin Towers, they got used to it. I wonder if that Empire State Building sways because that's super old construction, like turn of the century almost.
That's a good question because I've actually never been to the top of the Empire State Building.
When we were out there, we went on top of that too. We didn't go to like the skinny part of the top, but we went to
Right.
that observatory level, which I think is like 90% up. And I didn't feel it sway, but also I don't know if it was that. I don't think it was that windy or breezy. It might have not have
Right.
been that breezy at all. So I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it either way if it was swaying.
Well, a lot of people don't know the bridges actually move too. You ever been on top of a bridge, like stop, because say
Yeah,
you're in
why?
traffic on the bridge moves.
Yeah, well, I know it definitely vibrates and it definitely has that ability to go up and down, like wobble
Right,
up and down
right,
with a certain size truck that comes passing you by.
right,
You can definitely feel the wobbling, but I and I know with the bridge construction, say spanned bridges or whatever they call those ropes, they're not ropes, it's steel garters that come down and look like ropes. I know those things are meant to sway, not a lot, but they're meant to, work with the wind and not
right.
against the wind.
Gotcha. Right. You correct. You correct about that.
And I saw pictures of the Empire, or not pictures, video of the Empire State Building, not the Empire State, a Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
Video of the Golden Gate Bridge before they rebuilt it because they didn't adjust for the wind coming through there, and that thing wobbled like a damn pretzel.
Wow.
Like you could see one end of the bridge. Well, not even one end. You could see halfway down. It looked like a teeter-totter, like four of them going all at different times. Just
Wow.
halfway through the bridge. That's how bad it wobbled.
Mm.
And they had to fix that because it wasn't drivable or walkable. So I'd assume like all those bridges out there, a lot of them were built the same way as that Golden Gate Bridge with the trestles and the big
Mm-hmm.
huge steel garters or whatever they call them. So I'd assume they're built somewhat at the same time and the same way.
But I think the Empire State Building is built a little more sturdier than the World Trade Center, because a lot of people don't know a plane actually flew into the Empire State Building a long time ago, and it pretty much just stuck in it. It's pretty much like concrete and brick.
You know what? I did not know that.
Yeah,
Inquiring minds. Wow.
Yeah, a plane hit the Empire State Building.
That's crazy because I love history.
Right.
And I never knew that.
Yeah.
So I must not love it that much if I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it didn't do nothing. It just knocked out a few floors, and they just repaired those floors up, and that was it.
Wild.
Yep.
Well, those back then, things like that and like everything was meant to last. They built it to last. So I would assume the buildings were the same.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's true.
Well, I was going to tell you, in that review I did for Rapido, in the very first photo or the second photo of the slideshow, I had in the back of the Rapido cars, they sent me this bus. And if the video was working, which it doesn't seem to be working, they got
But
this.
I actually saw a video of yours. I think you was actually interviewing a guy from Rapido.
Oh, yeah, Jordan. Yeah.
And them buses are awesome, man.
Right.
I mean, the detail is amazing.
I haven't opened this one yet. It still has the plastic wrap around it. I'm guessing they sent this to me so I can do a review on it. But he didn't say he was sending me this. He just said he was going to send me the cars.
Right.
So they sent me this brand new bus. And I wanted to show you it, but I don't know if I'm still frozen on your end.
Yeah, I mean, you're moving, but it's real slow. Like,
well, I don't know if this will show up at any time, and the wrapping isn't completely clear. It's kind of frosted wrap. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this bus if the video ever gets unstuck. But
yeah,
it looks like
I see it. It's just real slow. Okay. I can see it though. Yeah.
It looks like it's a 40s, 50s, maybe 60s. I wouldn't even go 60s bus.
Right.
Maybe 60s. Maybe actually 60s and 70s. It doesn't have a date on the bus, like what kind of year it would be. But I think it's supposed to be just a bus in that time period, in that era. So they don't put an actual year on it.
I actually have a bus just like that, but it's made by a different manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like the Rapido cars, they're supposed to be like 80 through 85, no specific year. But, back then, all the cars looked like that anyways for probably 10 years.
Right.
So I'm assuming they chose a bus to produce that has that same quality of being made for so long, you could just consider it any year between that time period.
Oh yeah, that's definitely an iconic bus in the bus world. Definitely.
Yeah, but that's my only bus, man, and it's only because they sent it to me. I don't even know if to send this back or not. They haven't reached back out and told me. But
it's funny. When we actually did our interview in the past, I actually was thinking about sending you a bus because I said, Sam does these crazy low riders. Because I did my version, but I said,
and I love your version. I love your version because nobody else has ever done one. The fact that you did it, that's what I love about it.
Well, I don't know if the video is freezing, but this is the bus he's talking about.
Now you've been frozen forever, man. You've been frozen since the beginning. So for all the viewers that are hearing this, because I put a slideshow of his work over the audio, that's why there's a slideshow, because the video between me and him is just horrible. The glitches, the frozen picture. If you were to try to watch this, you just turn it off. So I'm putting a slideshow of all his work, or a lot of his work, over the audio. So there's something to look at while we're talking.
Well, I still hold the bus up just in case some reason it works after he views it back. But if not, I'll send him a picture of each bus that I'm talking about.
Cool, yeah, do that, because I'm gonna re-listen to this as I put those slideshows in. So what you're talking about, I'll actually have a picture of, instead of just random pictures and us talking about something completely different.
I hope it works out, because it's something I want to show y'all from.
Oh, it's gonna work out. Either way, it's gonna be a slideshow.
Okay.
But you send me the pictures of what you're talking about, and then I'll listen to the audio and put the pictures in where they need to go.
Okay.
But I'm not putting a picture in of the Twin Towers or the Empire State Building. You all know what those look like.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm not putting a video of that bridge swaying back and forth neither. Go look it up yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I was kind of excited and thrown off guard that they sent me that bus, because I'm not a bus guy. I don't mind doing a review on it. I couldn't tell you if I liked it or not. I can just tell you if it was high quality, low quality, worth getting, fair price point, whatever. But I mean, I'm not a bus guy. I think they would have done better if they sent that to you. You could have did a review on it. But at the same time,
if I remember right, doesn't that bus, like, the lights light up and stuff like that?
Oh, there is two versions. So when we were at the RPM meet last year in St. Louis, RPM wasn't there, or I'm sorry, Rapido wasn't there, but their products were there. People were selling them. And these people had both versions. So there's two versions you can buy. Not all these have lights, only a more expensive version does.
Okay.
So looking at this, it doesn't have anything on the box that says LEDs. So I'm going to assume there are none on this particular one. But they do make this one with LEDs though.
Right.
Now, if the viewers are listening and I haven't opened this by the time the viewers watch this, they could probably prove me wrong and be like, no, they all have it. But I don't think this one does. I think it would say something about that on the box somewhere.
That's actually one of the next steps I want to do. I want to get one of my buses lit up.
Man,
one of my personal ones.
Yeah. No, you got to go with the personal first. Because if you try to do a customer's car and then you don't even have one of your own, that's just going to eat you up inside.
Yeah.
Be like, why did I build this for him? Should have just kept it.
Because there's a guy, I think the name of the company is Hubtronics. And he's been getting buses from Iconic Replicas, and he's been lighting them up. But the thing is, all those buses are like Greyhounds and stuff. But I want my, the freight company I made, Prosperity. I want a Prosperity bus lit up.
That'd be cool, man.
Right.
But are the buses you customize? I know you can obviously take the base off to get inside, but are the windows part of the body in a sense where they're not see-through, they're just painted black, or can you see through the windows? I haven't looked at your model close enough to even know, because all I see is pictures.
Right. The Iconic Replicas are actually die-cast and the windows are clear. But
nice.
But I actually have 3D printed buses too. So it's pretty much just,
there you go.
Yeah, it's all hollow inside. So they would have plenty of room for wiring and stuff.
Yeah, and especially when the seats sit up off of the base of the car, you have literally that whole room underneath the interior base to put all that stuff in. That's cool.
Yeah, I got a few 3D printed buses that would be perfect because it's completely hollow. So
that's awesome. You know, I have East Coast Circuit do all my stuff, but they have like a 9-month waiting list.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, I literally just sent a Ghostbusters car to them for them to light up, and they said it's gonna be about 7 to 8 months. I was like, I don't care, it's not for me.
Wow.
As long as I tell the customer and the customer doesn't keep bugging me about it, and they know how long it's gonna take, then that's all I care about. But
Got
then I just started working on the Ghostbusters 2016 car,
right.
and I talked to them about it, and they said we'll just put this in line with the Ghostbusters car. So when we get to the Ghostbusters car, we'll do this one at the same time. I was like, sweet.
Yeah, right.
So I am not trying to gloat or make myself sound better than everybody, even though that's exactly what it's going to sound like.
Right.
I'm going to be the only one in the world with every screen used Ghostbusters car in this scale in the world. So
Right,
booyah,
right.
punk. Not
Hey,
trying to
it's
gloat,
nothing
just
wrong with
stating
it.
facts.
Listen, it's nothing wrong with saying that, because I could even say with my collection, I have buses that guys will never ever get in their collection ever. And I'm
Yeah,
confident in saying that.
right.
Now,
Yeah,
don't
I
get me
mean,
wrong. If you see it in person, you'll say, oh, well, it got flaws. It's not perfect. But guess what? You don't got
man, everything has flaws.
one. You don't have one.
Everything, even especially in this scale. It's so hard
Right,
to get it so perfect because of the scale.
right.
I wouldn't even worry about that.
Gotcha.
But that's like the Ghostbusters car. When I sell those cars, I sell the video game version, not the movie versions.
Right,
The video game is what Mad About Cars is actually designed, was the video game version, not
right.
the two movie car versions. So, but it's not like you couldn't build one. You can build one. In fact, somebody just posted a week ago that
Yeah, I
they
saw that.
got that
Yeah,
3D printed one and they put
right,
lights on it,
right,
and I think it's awesome that that person tried to do that. I mean,
right.
I don't even light up my own cars. Somebody else does, East Coast Circuit. So he's doing it himself. So good for him.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. Definitely.
Right? Especially in the scale. I mean,
Right.
that's why I don't do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But your little new venture into the diorama strip mall. The
Right,
pictures that you're posting, they're not a lot of pictures, but what you're posting looks really cool because you can see like you're literally your little tiny city that's maybe 1 square block big is
right,
growing little by little, and it's
right.
really cool to see that because it's a
That's actually
modern
an old
city
picture,
that fits in a
believe it or
closet.
not.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I actually had that same diorama when we did the first video. It just wasn't done yet.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Well,
I
either
got
way,
a
man.
whole new venture I'm working on right now, which I gotta shout your boy out on this one. Joseph Belivens.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he helped me out on this one. Yeah, great guy. Great guy.
Yeah, I just talked to him earlier today about a venture we're gonna collab with.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He even hooked up with I don't know if you watched this episode, but he hooked up with this guy Joshua Barton, who's on the What's Neat show with Kim Patterson.
Okay,
Uh
cool.
he hooked up with him to do a couple restaurant buildings.
Wow,
And I
nice.
don't know what the end result was with that, but they hooked up together and the plan it went through. So I don't know where they're at with that or not, but I
Nice.
thought that was pretty cool.
Okay. Well,
And then
the thing
oh, go
about
ahead.
this model world is it's big, but it's very small because a lot of people know each other. Because
Yes, exactly.
like I watch your videos and I didn't know who Joseph Belivens was until I watched your videos. And he actually was doing a video with you and he mentioned a guy that he worked with where he did a bus station with. And he said, yeah, we did a bus station together. And he submitted it into a contest and actually won the contest. And the thing is,
Oh, I
I
remember
actually know that contest.
that. Nice.
So I wish the video was working because I actually have the book here in front of me. So I know exactly what building he's talking about.
Just send me a picture of it. That way, when I get to
Okay.
this part of the video, they can actually see what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was the manufacturer that made the buses. They put out a contest where people just submitted pictures of the buses and dioramas and stuff, and they picked 12 winners. So the guy that Joseph Belivens worked with, he won 1 month, and I actually won another month. So I actually
Oh,
knew the
nice.
guy he was talking about in the video.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's
Yeah,
one cool thing about this little hobby of ours too, is the
right,
fact that as big as it is, it's still very small compared to a lot of other hobbies. So,
right,
you know, like say you were in the Hot Wheels world or the model car world and you were talking about somebody, well, that would be more like a shout out that you were doing
got you.
about them. You know, here it's not really a shout out, it's just a compliment of, oh yeah, I know that guy. We all know that guy, and I appreciate his work because
Right,
we all know him. Like in the model car world, Hot Wheel world, or even like hot in like the one scale world, you're talking about a car that's super famous and the builder that built it. 90% of the people never met that guy, never will. And
right,
so, this hobby, especially with the podcast, is able to get to know every single builder that wants to do this podcast and
right,
really understand what they're about, what they love. And, even though you may not never meet somebody because they may be on the West Coast, they may be in a different country, we all have an idea of who you are and what you're about and what you like, and we can relate to a lot of it. Like you
right,
related to that guy that, won that bus contest.
right, right, right,
So that's what's neat about the hobby is even though we're big, we're still very small in
right,
consideration of other hobbies. So we all can know each other fairly easy. And I think
right,
that's
right.
neat.
Yeah, you're right about that. So
Hey man,
definitely when I saw that, yeah, go
you
ahead.
gotta come up to St. Louis with us.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool, man.
I'm not kidding, you need to. You need to take some time off of work. It's a 2 day show. I only
Right,
go for 4. So I drive up one day, I come home the last day, and it's done. You need to
right.
you need to come up, or we can carpool.
Nice, right, right, right. Well, you only one state away from me. I live in South
Right, I
Carolina.
know. That's what I'm saying. So we can
Right,
I could drive to your house, pick you up. You can drive to my house, drop your car off, find somebody
right.
to watch your kid for 4 days. Have your mom or your dad watch them, or
Right, right, right.
his mom, somebody.
Right, 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 right.
Because last year I stayed with me and Joseph uh, winning halves on a hotel room, and that really
Nice,
helped.
nice, nice.
And this year he says he's not going to be able to go because of work. So now
Oh man.
I'm
Right,
kind of doing a last minute trying to figure out who I'm going to stay with if I don't have or if I have to stay with anybody. Like if I
right,
have to get my own room all by my lonesome because nobody wants to share one and make my
right.
weekend cheaper. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's my problem, not your problem. But I think it would be cool though that you go either to RPM or you go to Massachusetts,
nice.
because the
Right.
Massachusetts show, that's huge, man. Every single person on the East Coast and the Midwest goes to that show,
Mm,
and
wow.
I think you would love it.
Yeah, I'm sure I would. I love dioramas, man. Love them.
They got a lot of them there.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the train clubs that go to that, they're all module clubs. So their
Mm,
modules are like little tiny dioramas that all hook together to have a big, huge train layout.
yeah, right, right.
So I think you would love it. I think you should
Yeah, I'm
figure
sure I
out
would. Sure I
how to
would.
make plans to go. Because I'll be up there this next January in
Okay,
Springfield,
cool.
and I'm going to
Right.
RPM meet, and you're welcome to come too.
Hey, we gotta figure out something.
Right.
Definitely.
But yeah, man. So what you said that diorama is kind of old, the pictures that you showed.
Right.
And then you said in the beginning you haven't really been doing much modeling, you've been doing collecting. How many models of buses do you think you have? Like not different brands, not different the
Mm.
styles of buses, but total, how many buses in total in your collection or roundabout?
Oh man, that's a good question, man.
And then how many are unboxed and how many, like a percentage, are in boxes still?
Well, I'm not trying to let the cat out the bag, but I don't keep every model I get, especially because you probably noticed that I've been start doing YouTube videos of reviewing some of the buses. So,
Yeah, I'm subscribed to your channel. I've
right, I
seen those.
appreciate that. So, a lot of those buses on the channel I don't actually keep. I just
Oh,
review them
okay.
and let them go. But out of my personal collection, I have to have at least 300.
Dang, 300 buses. Now, for every bus, for all you listeners, four cars can fit the length of one bus. And if you go tall, it could be two
Right,
car heights or three for one
right.
bus. So imagine how much room that's taking up compared to our little tiny cars that we're collecting.
But it's an HO bus. It don't take that much
No,
room.
I get it, but an HO car is only a quarter of that big old bus.
Right, right. Yeah, I
So if
got
you
it.
were to,
Well, when I say 300, I don't mean all HO. That's like all my buses all together because I
oh, so you
got
got bigger
3PLs
ones and
too.
smaller ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You
I
know,
got a
I don't,
bus big enough that I wish the camera was working, man. I would show you some of the stuff I got, but yeah, I got
well,
some
just
big
take
ones.
pictures of it. Take
I got
pictures
some
and I'll
big
put them in
ones.
the slideshow. So then I gotta say, so when I went to Disney World, um,
Hmm.
one of the times, because we've been there multiples,
Right,
um, I thought in the beginning when I started buying this scale stuff, I thought I was picking up the right scale. Come to find out, I think I was picking up N scale buses, but they had a 3 pack of Disney
I know
buses
exactly
from
what you're
hotel to
talking about.
hotel.
I got
Yeah, and they
those.
were too small once I got home and realized, oh, this is not the right scale.
I got those buses. I know
Oh,
exactly what
okay,
you're talking
good.
about.
Because if you didn't, I was gonna say, I'm not gonna do nothing with these. They're sitting in the box doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they're really, really, really small. Yeah,
They are. I think they're in scale. They seem
right,
if they
right.
weren't HO, which they're not. The next scale down has to have been an N scale. And I doubt they would have made an off in between scale, but they might have. I don't know.
Now I'm gonna tell you, Disney actually has a Matchbox bus where it has Disney on it. That's
Uh,
actually close to HO scale.
oh, really? Do you have a
Yeah,
picture of that, or do you have that one too?
I do, but I painted over it. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, good
It's
job.
not Disney anymore.
Well, funny fact too, when you go out to Disney, you can go to any gift store and they got the monorail and you can
Right.
buy actual track for the monorail. That monorail is 164 scale. So for all
Mm,
the Hot Wheel people out there, and it comes with figurines, like actual Disney figurines that go inside the monorail, which
right.
are 164 scale figurines. So for all you Hot Wheel people that might be
Mm.
listening to this episode, next time you're at Disney World, buy a monorail because it's
Yeah,
164
I
scale.
like that monorail. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it'd be cooler if it was 187 scale,
It
but
sure would.
it's still cool nonetheless because you can buy extra track for that, make a loop, or you wanted to waste
Hmm.
a shit ton of money, you can buy a whole
Right,
shitload of track and make an actual monorail that goes around a fake Disneyland in your house.
right.
And then the cool thing too, Gold Rush Valley,
Hmm.
that 3D printing company that makes these amazing houses, they make the train station from Disneyland that you see at the entrance,
Oh,
and
okay.
they make One of the Frontier buildings at Disney's Frontierland, or several Frontier buildings from Disneyland. So
Wow.
you could technically start building yourself a small little Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
And they make it
I-
for HO scale too. So if anybody wanted a Disneyland, I'll have a picture of it on the slideshow. If anybody wanted a Disneyland train station, I don't know what you'd do with it. You could get one in HO scale.
Okay. Hey, that's good to know because you know a lot of buses visit Disneyland, so that would be a nice little diorama.
True. That's what I was thinking. I got those 3 buses. Maybe you want those, but you already have them. So,
Yeah, they too
but yeah,
small, man.
yeah,
They're
they
too
are too
small.
small.
Yeah, and they're not that detailed neither.
Well, they're toys. They're meant for little kids,
True.
so they
Yeah.
shouldn't
True.
be too detailed. They probably have
Right.
no mirrors, painted on
Nah,
light.
you could tell what kind of bus they was trying to model after, but
Right.
they didn't quite get it.
Well, and they're not, I don't think they were too focused on, the exact. I think they were just saying, hey, we got these travel buses. We want to make them for little kids that have to go on these travel buses with their parents. So just make something that looks like it. That's probably what they were going for.
Well, what they was trying to do is because the actual company that has the account that does Disney World, they actually wrap their buses to look like trolleys. So that's what they was modeling after, those buses with the wrap on it. So they was more
Oh,
concerned
okay.
about the wrap, not the actual bus, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. So
Well, that's good to know though, because I mean, I like I said, I think those buses are closer scale to N scale. So if
right,
any
right.
N scale people are out there listening to this, but if they are, I mean, Disneyland makes those 3 bus. I think they're like $11 for all 3 of them, or maybe $20 for all 3. I don't know.
But they do have an HO scale Disney one if you look for it. So I think they're made by Matchbox. So just look out
I'll
for
have
it.
to see if I can
They're out
find a
there.
picture. I'm sure I can Google it and find a picture of that because that'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
Like I
Because
said, I
that's
have
the
a
cool
couple,
thing,
but I painted over the Disney. So
right?
yeah.
That's a cool thing about toy companies like Hot Wheels or Matchbox.
Right.
Like because they need to fit in a certain kind of cardboard card with the plastic around it, half of their stuff is HO scale. The
Right.
other
Right.
half is 1/64th or bigger, but half of it, because of that card, has to be small, and it actually rounds out to be close enough to HO scale, which is cool.
Especially commercial vehicles.
Yes,
The
definitely.
commercial videos are really close to HO.
Did you
Maybe
see the
not the cars,
Matchbox?
but yeah.
Right. Did you see the Matchbox Ford F350s they came out with a couple years ago? Came out
No, I
with
didn't.
different versions of them. They're like a
Right.
Ford F350, and they come out with like a camping one. So it's got like a camper shell on it with all this camping gear on top, and then they came out with like a fire rescue with these. It looks like huge roll bars around the outside of the truck, but I think they're supposed to be water tubes,
Okay.
and they round out to be about 1/87 scale. It's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Nice. I might need to look for those because I'm looking for some utility type vehicles for my,
I'll send you pictures of those because I
Okay.
have them loose, so I'll just take a picture of all 3 of them together,
Yeah, I'm
and that
looking
way
for
the
like a
viewers
utility video,
have something to see
vehicle.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty cool. I mean, you want to change the wheels if you
Okay.
got more scaled right wheels because they're Matchbox wheels, so they're obviously way over big.
Right.
But if you get some scaled right wheels, it'll look pretty good. You probably just get some RPS wheels or something.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man.
But my latest build, the reason I brought up Joseph Belivens is because he's the one that 3D printed my main building for my latest build. And I wish the camera was working because I got the diorama right here, but I'll send you a picture of it. But for the people who are not in the bus industry, one of the largest dealerships in North America is called ABC Companies. and they sell. I mean, they sell pretty much all kinds of buses, but mostly they sell a foreign vendor that they ship the buses over here called Van Hool. They have a facility down in Winter Garden, Florida. So I just did a diorama of, because they're pretty much one of the largest dealerships, bus dealerships in North America for coaches. So Joseph Belivens, he helped me pull that together.
Nice.
So now I have a diorama of one of the largest bus dealerships in North America.
That's awesome, man.
So
That's really cool.
So I'll
And you know
definitely
what?
send you a picture of that.
Yeah, do that. Because you know what I like? I don't know why I like it. I think it's just maybe it's probably bragging rights that maybe mean absolutely nothing to most people, or maybe it's the fact that nobody else had. It's probably just bragging rights. I love when people have the most of something or the biggest of something, whatever. Like
Right.
I know I've got the most lowriders in this scale anywhere in the world. I know that.
Right.
And I love knowing that. Now, I don't think I have the most movie cars by far. I think
Okay.
there's other collectors that have movie cars that outweigh my movie cars.
Right.
But you know, I have all three Ghostbusters cars, and pretty soon all four. And you know, it's just like the things that, like you have one of the biggest bus terminals in this scale
Right.
anywhere in the world, probably. You know, not
Right.
maybe the biggest, but one of the biggest.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and then the fact that you focus on building only buses compared to vehicles, compared to like trains, compared to anything else, your main focus is buses. I'd say, you know, like you pretty much said in the beginning, you're like the go-to guru of knowing anything and everything that, you know, a new person wanting to get into the hobby for buses could go
Right.
straight to it and be able to answer almost any question. So you have the knowledge probably more than anybody in this scale. Maybe not anybody in the hobby, but in the scale.
Right. 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 Right.
So those type of things, I like to know when people have that, and why it is I like it. I don't know why I like it. I just it's a neat fact to know, and it's I guess it's just bragging rights. You have the most, I have the most, you have the
Right.
most knowledge, I have the most knowledge on this. So you're like you know you can be the main person instead of
Right.
everybody knowing the same facts about everything, and like it's there's just not one go-to person. I like kind of like there still is one go-to person.
Right.
I don't know why I like that. It's kind of dumb, but like you're the bus guy,
Well,
and
me
like
and you are kind of
boy,
the same because um, I listen to your videos. I'm definitely a follower, and you always talk about how you see guys' cars, and you say, "Oh man, that's so detailed," but it's stock. It's so plain. Like
yeah,
you
it's
got to do
basic.
something to it. It's so boring.
Yeah, it's a
Well, that's
good
the way
build.
I
Don't
am
get
in
me
the bus
wrong, but
world.
it's boring. Yeah,
Right, right. That's the way I'm in the bus world because when I look at other bus collectors, it's always a Greyhound bus station. I'm
right.
like,
That is what it is.
and I'm
Exactly.
like, don't you know the bus world is so much bigger than Greyhound?
They see this is the thing. They don't. Or else they would build something else. They put a different
Right.
name on that same Greyhound bus station. They just put a different name on it, but they don't know. They're not bus people. They're just
It's
diorama people.
it's amazing. Matter of fact, whenever Iconic Replicas puts out a new bus, the Greyhound always sells out first.
Oh,
Because that's
well,
all everybody
yeah,
buys.
right. I mean, they if you do think about it, like you know all the bus companies, and
Right,
an outside person like me or mostly everybody else, you know Greyhound. You may not know any other bus company, but you know
right.
Greyhound. Like they're a
True.
staple in this
Right,
country, and they
right,
have been forever. So when you think about buses, that's what you're thinking about. You're not really thinking about any other bus, even though you know there's other buses. But that's
right,
just it's like when you think about when the term classic car comes in your head, most people picture right off the bat like a 57 Chevy or a 59 Cadillac or their muscle car dream that they've had their whole life. And
Right.
all the other cars don't come into their head. They're just a part of that group. So just like the buses, every other bus is just part of the Greyhound group of buses, even though
Right.
they're not, but that's how they see it.
You correct. You correct.
But like you said, there are a lot of other bus companies, and the manufacturers that build these buildings, these model buildings, should venture out to the other bus or not manufacturers, but the other bus companies and make other sort of bus stations or bus
Right.
terminals or whatever. Because
Like you
even the
said, they
trolley, think about the
on my
trolleys from the 30s and 40s. There
mhm,
were plenty of different brands of those. They're not just one brand.
right, right. Yeah, on my channel, I call Greyhound the big bad wolf because that's just what it is. And I'm not trying to offend nobody, especially the diehard Greyhound people. But if you ever rode a Greyhound bus, their service is terrible. A lot of time their buses are dirty. They're not that nice. They just now started upgrading their fleet. They got some newer stuff. But again, it's just a name. I mean, the
Right.
service is horrible.
So it's the Spirit Airlines of bus driving.
It pretty much is. I'm on because like I said, I live in South Carolina now, and I actually got on a Greyhound bus going towards Atlanta. And it took me a whole day to get to Atlanta.
Oh my gosh.
It was
I've never
miserable.
been on a Greyhound bus.
It was
I've never been
terrible.
on a bus that went outside my city. Like I know when I was young living in
Right,
California, I had to take the bus because it was just the way we grew up.
right.
But that was city buses, like the A,
Gotcha.
whatever I don't even know what the bus uh, three-lettered acronym meant. I don't even remember what the three letters were, but it was like a three-lettered acronym bus name. I don't know what it was, but it was just local city bus. That's all it was, local transit.
Right.
So like a Greyhound, I've never been on a Greyhound. That's like a luxury bus compared to the city buses I've
Nah,
been
trust me, there ain't nothing luxury about Greyhound at all.
on.
I'm the bus guy, and I'm telling you, I hated it. I couldn't wait to get off that bus. It was terrible.
Now, I can say when we were in Paris,
Right.
France, we did these, tourist long distance things where we took these, luxury long distance buses that had bathrooms on them. And then even when we were in the UK, we did the same thing, like these tour buses that were
Mhm.
pretty nice buses. They reclined, they had TVs in them, they had a toilet in them that nobody
Right.
was allowed to use, but you still had them in there. So I thought, oh, I've never really had to ride a bus, but I guess if we're gonna go on vacation like that, mm,
Right.
it's probably the only reason I would want to go on a bus.
But I'm gonna tell you, the bus, the buses overseas are way more advanced than our buses. Way more advanced.
Well, hey, we're Americans, okay? What do we need that luxuries for?
Right.
We cowboys out here. We
Right.
we used to riding a horse and getting our butts bumped up and down from the saddle. What we need that
Right.
luxury bus for?
I'll give you a perfect example. There's a company that used to sell buses here. They just canceled it, but they was called a Cetra. Their bus that we had here in 2007, they had it over there back in the 90s.
Oh wow,
That just shows you how behind we are.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like really bad. That's like taking a 1950s cab from New York and still driving it today and never doing any upgrades.
and we was just getting it thinking it was the best thing since sliced bread, but they had it 20 years ago, and we was just now getting it on this side.
Well, it does seem like on the other side of the world, some things I'd say transportation wise, do seem to be way further ahead than ours
Right.
in the sense
Yep.
of like bullet trains everywhere and subways that you know, like I don't know, North Carolina, South Carolina, we don't got subways nowhere.
Right.
And not that we need them, but it's still, if we did need them, we probably would never get them for who knows how long, for the next 20 years.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, when we were in Paris, we took an L train to the Eiffel Tower, and I'd never been on an L train before. It made me think of the Blues Brothers. They're driving underneath that L train trestle, chasing the cars. I was looking for the Blues Brothers beneath me all the time, and we were in
Right.
Paris.
Now,
But I
one thing
thought,
I will say about our vehicles is theirs are nicer than ours, but ours are safer. We have way more stricter guidelines as far as vehicles being allowed to be on our roads. Buses,
right.
trucks, cars, everything.
Yeah. Well, perfect example, which a lot of people don't know, but
Right.
in every country but the US, you could get yourself a, $1 million Bugatti, brand
Mhm.
new $2 million Bugatti. Everywhere else, you can buy it as you see them on YouTube or TV or whatever. But when you get it delivered to America, they have these awful, huge, like foot wide and foot long bumper guards on the front and
Right.
back of them. They look
Hmm.
so horrible. And that's a regulation that this country, mandates that those cars come with. Everybody
The,
takes them off that have them out here, but they have to come that way.
right. The buses are the
But yeah,
same way. When you see the same bus model in overseas, they have nice, sleek, pretty looking bumpers. Here, they got to be more heftier and more bulkier.
wow.
Yeah. Same thing with the buses. Yep.
That does make you wonder though, like why?
Right.
I mean, if maybe who knows? There could be a billion reasons why, but it does make you wonder nonetheless.
I think it works in the favor on both ends because I actually watched a YouTube video of a guy, he was a designer from overseas, and they asked him, they said, why do you think America is so strict with their regulations with the vehicles? And he said, um, America's actually smart because they look at the bigger picture. They're just not looking at what's nice and what's comfortable. Like
Ah,
with the buses, if you ever look at a foreign bus, it's a one piece windshield. In America, it has to be a split windshield. So when you're riding in the bus overseas, it's a better visual effect because there's no partition or anything.
right.
But he said, if you think about it, it's really smarter because if that windshield was to break, you're gonna have to spend money to change that whole windshield. But the American buses, since they're split, is actually more efficient.
Interesting. That does make sense though.
Right. So
That's
it
very
goes
interesting.
both ways.
But they probably thinking on their end out there overseas, we ain't getting into accidents. We ain't busting no windows.
Yeah, yeah.
These are
Right.
too pretty. So we
Yeah,
gonna make sure we keep these at top notch.
we drive better than Americans, so we don't have to worry about
Yeah.
that.
Like if they doing, 180 kilometers an hour, that might equivalent to 120 miles or
Right.
110
Yeah.
miles out here on the freeway. And maybe that's a school bus doing that. And we
Right,
driving
right.
55 miles an hour, no faster.
Right.
I mean, I don't know that the school buses are going that fast, but they probably go faster than our buses out here.
They Trump, if you knew the horsepower that these buses and trucks got, they can go way faster than they go. They're governed down so crazy, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it'd be horrible to be a bus driver for field trips. Like maybe not around town because you're only going to go so fast around town anyways. But during
Right.
field trips, when you got to get on that highway and drive for 100 miles and you can only do 55, God, you fall asleep at the wheel.
Well, that's school buses. Like the
That's
buses
what I
I
mean,
drive,
though.
we had it to the floor.
And it still only goes so fast.
Yeah, the school buses are regulated at 55, but we was going faster than that.
Well, I know one day I was driving to work
Mhm.
and these three, I think they're like UNC buses.
Okay.
They were just plain white though. They didn't have any
Okay.
markings. So maybe they're brand new buses that the school was buying, or maybe I don't know. I don't know where they
Okay.
were. I want to say they were maybe they were the equivalent of what a UNC bus is. It was the same type of bus. So
Gotcha.
there's three of them side by side going down 40, and they were doing like 75, 80. And I'm
Oh
like, oh,
yeah, we be
these guys
rolling.
are flying.
Yeah, we
Like
be rolling.
either there's nobody on them, or
Right.
they just don't care.
Right.
Because they were cruising. I was like, I think they're going a little bit too fast. They better slow down.
Nah, the charter bus world, we be rolling, man.
But that's good
Not
though. Like, if you can make that big old thing roll like that, you a little bit better than the people driving little cars.
I'm telling you, them buses can go faster than that. They got them things turned down. Don't them engines have uh, the horsepower in them buses and trucks nowadays is unbelievable.
Well, how about this? Because you're a
Right.
bus driver,
Mhm.
you know about buses, but how about these RVs that are equivalent to a bus? These $1 million, $2 million RVs that are luxury RVs, that it's literally a bus turned into an RV, and the buyer of a $2 million RV doesn't have to get a bus license or have to know anything how to drive that thing. Yet you, as a
Exactly.
bus driver, have to take bus driving classes.
And you know, it's funny. I just learned that maybe 5 years ago because I actually went to a RV event in Greensboro out by
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went over there and they had this big 45-foot RV. I mean, it's a 45-footer. It got a diesel engine, it got air brakes, everything. It's
Hmm.
pretty much just like a bus like we would drive.
Right.
And the guy, I was talking to the salesman, he was like, no, when you buy one of these, um, all you gotta do is take a 4-hour course and we let you go.
That ain't
You don't need
enough.
no CDL or anything. So I said, so why do we go through so much hassle to get a CDL? You know what he told me? He said a CDL is only permission for you to drive on American roads and make money on their roads.
So
It's all about money.
yeah.
It's the fact
It's,
that I make a salary for driving a truck or a bus on federal roads. It has nothing to do with the size of the vehicle. You can go on Freightliner right now and buy a tractor trailer, but if you can prove that you're not going to use it to make revenue, they'll let you do it with a regular license.
so what if you were to buy an RV and you
Okay,
had a two-car trailer, like a lift inside the RV, like a double decker trailer, and
right,
you hauled cars back and forth across the country, and it just literally looked like you were going on a cross-country camping trip,
right.
and you made money off of it. You didn't have to have a special license unless they
Well, if
caught
you're
you.
making money, yeah, you're gonna need some kind of
That's
um
dumb.
permit or something. But if you're doing that for your own let's just say you're a millionaire and you just got so much money to throw away, you buy an RV or a truck or whatever, and you're
Right.
driving it on your personal time, you don't need a CDL.
That's wild.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think
Which
99% of people would know that.
and the
That's
thing
super
is, that's
crazy.
what bothers me because whenever I get around an RV, I get the heck away from them because that scares me. You're driving this big 45
Yes.
foot coach down the road
Right.
and you don't really know what you're doing.
You have no idea what you're doing.
Absolutely
I
not.
know that for a fact. Even that 4 hour class ain't gonna tell you nothing.
Absolutely not. No.
because I
Absolutely
mean
not.
I love driving. I'm a driver by heart. I love it.
Right,
It's passion. I feel like I could almost drive anything because
right,
I understand it. The bigger
right,
the vehicle, the heavier the vehicle, the longer the vehicle, the more you need to make adjustments. The more
right.
you need to keep your distance, the more they're gonna stop nearly as quick as a car. You just naturally you should just know these things. And something that big that's bigger than a school bus, it's pretty much got two levels to it because it's so damn tall and it
Right.
weighs so much with all the luxuries they put inside of that. That thing ain't going nowhere anytime quick. And once you do get somewhere quick, you ain't stopping no time soon.
See, that's the problem I have is because you can do whatever you want when everything is going right. It's the problem when
Right.
everything goes wrong.
Yeah. And with
That's
something
where the
that big,
professionalism
hmm,
comes in.
right.
Because you see RV in ditches all the time.
Oh, yeah. And then, when you're going up a grade like a mountain and you
Right.
just think to keep up with the cars, and then your
Mhm.
engine starts overheating. It's like, come on now. You should just understand these things. You should have the
Yeah.
common sense factor to be allowed to drive something that big.
Right.
But they
But
don't. So
that's that's the that's the government. Politics is all about money.
you right about that.
It's all about money. Because a lot of people, I'm about to drop a jewel on a lot of people. A lot of people don't know that RVing actually started from Greyhound buses. There wasn't a Greyhound market by itself in the past. A lot of the old RVs on the road used to be ex Greyhound buses that Greyhound retired and people bought them and then converted them themselves. But then when the market got so big, that's when RV companies came out and started making RVs brand new because the market got so big. But that's how it got started. Most RVs were old Greyhound buses that were retired, that people converted themselves.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. I didn't
Right.
know that's how it started, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look back in time and remember seeing, like 1960s or 70s RVs, without no logos on them, you knew they were
Right.
private vehicles.
Right.
That makes sense because before then, you're right, there wasn't any smaller RVs.
Right.
There was there's the SUV, like the Suburban, back in the 50s and 60s, but that's about as big as you got. You didn't get any bigger than like a Suburban,
Right.
and unless you had an RV, which was a Greyhound bus.
A Greyhound bus.
See,
That's
you're
why
not
I
only
understand
dropping
why
knowledge,
people have
you're
such
dropping history.
yeah, that's why I understand why such people have such nostalgic for Greyhound because it's a ground-breaking revolutionary company. But I just
Right.
don't like that they make it seem like that's the only thing out there.
Well,
There's
then
bus
you think about
companies
it
out
too.
here.
You
Right,
watch old movies like A League of Our Own, or you watch
right,
anything from the past, and that's what they're using. They're always using Greyhound.
true, right, right,
So they're really pushing it down Americans' throats. Like that is the only bus company.
right. You're right. You're right.
I know.
You're
That's
right
why I
about
said it.
right. You're right about that.
It is interesting though. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot of bus companies out there, but most people don't really know because really media just pushes it down your throat that Greyhound's it.
that's true. A lot of private bus companies. Matter of fact, if you watch the teams, pretty the teams like football, basketball, they all ride private bus companies. They don't ride Greyhound.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Like I know like USC and Duke, they got their own
Right.
probably like the
Mm-hmm.
buses you drive or something, like charter
Mm-hmm.
buses.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
That's crazy. You know what though? You know the bus that Rapido sent me? I told Joseph Belivens about it. And he
Mm-hmm.
goes, did they give you the one from Speed? And I said, Dang it. No. Man, that would have been the one I really wanted. How dare
Right,
them not know that's the one I wanted? Even though
right.
I didn't want this one, so how would they know? But dang it, that would have been a cool one to have.
It sure wouldn't.
I mean, I
You
would
know
have
how
built a
you
little diorama of
right.
that bus jumping.
You know how you like to do movie scenes? You know what movie scene I was thinking about doing?
Let me guess,
You
one with a
remember?
bus?
Yeah, with a bus. Because Iconic Replicas just came out with a bus called the Eagle, which is a very iconic bus. And a lot of people actually remember that from an old movie. And I don't remember the actual name of the movie, but it was a movie where they shot up the bus at the end. I'm trying to remember the name of that movie, man.
Hmm.
I know they shot up the bus at the end. Let me see if I can Google it, bro.
Well, I do know in a lot of movies that have disaster scenes going on,
Mhm.
one of their famous go-tos is always to get passengers off of a bus.
Mm,
Like me and my daughter are watching the cinematic MCU universe timeline. So not just the order that the movies came out in, but the order of the timeline of the movies. Um, and we just watched the Avengers movie, and
right.
one of their iconic scenes is being, right in front of Grand Station or Grand Central Station, and there's a bus full of people, and Iron Man or Captain America's got to get all the people off the bus. It's like, really? Why do you have
Right,
to put a
right,
bus in every movie has a bus that you have to get people off of?
right, right. I'm trying to remember what movie. It was a movie where I get I think Clint Eastwood was in that movie too.
Clint Eastwood?
I think he
I
was.
definitely
Don't
don't
hold
know
me
what
to
that
it.
is.
Man, it was a movie scene where the guy was trying to get away. He was driving an old Eagle bus, and they was just shooting up the bus. Like, I mean, just shooting it up. Boom, boom. Man, what movie was that, man?
That's a good
Uh,
question. And the funny thing is, I'm a movie guy, but I don't know what that is. I do know there's that movie Swordfish with Halle
okay.
Berry and John Travolta, and they have to take a bus and hang it from a helicopter and fly it through LA.
Wow.
So like the front end of it was hanging off these two straps from the helicopter, and it was flying vertical through I mean, it wasn't really LA, but it was flying vertical in the air.
Mm,
And it was an old like 80s, I don't know, 90s style bus that
right,
was in
right.
major cities. And then I know in same thing pretty much in that Maze Runner, the last movie where in the major city, they get all these kids out that were being tested
Right.
for the cure, because I think that movie was called Maze Runner Death Cure.
Got-
They get all these kids in a bus and they have to do the same thing with that bus. A big old magnet of a crane picks it up, and it picks it up to where it's like vertical in the air, and all the kids are hanging from the seats trying not to fall out the back glass.
I found the movie. You ever heard of a movie called The Gauntlet?
Nope. That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Yeah,
No.
it's a scene at the end. I guess they were trying to get away, and I mean, the police was coming after, and they shot this bus up, man. It,
Send me
you
the
can
name in the
the Gauntlet,
messenger of that movie, because I'll forget it. That way I can
right?
find photos of it, and I can put that in the slideshow during this part what you're talking about, so people can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's an iconic movie. I remember from a kid. Yeah, they shot the bus at the. I guess they was criminals, and the
Interesting.
police they had like some kind of standoff, and they just shot the bus up until the bus just conked out in the middle of the road because it's full
Hmm.
of bullets. So I said, let me get one of these old Eagles and put it full of bullets
Yeah, I mean,
and make a scene out of it.
right. That would be cool. But
Right.
I will say there's only a handful of people that will know what that is without any explanation. But those are the people that you
Right.
want to know, because then you're like, you get it, I get it, enough said. I don't even have to explain any of this.
Exactly.
It sounds like a cool idea, and I think you should do it.
There's
And
plenty
then
of
when you
scenes the
post it,
buses were in that
yeah, when
people.
you post it, just say, tell me what movie this is from, and do like a little
Right.
contest. Not that they're gonna win anything; they'll just win the winning answer if somebody knows what it is.
That fact, I'm gonna screenshot this bus. You giving me some ideas because I'm looking at the picture now on Google.
Yeah, I think that'd be neat. I mean,
Yeah, that
and
would be cool.
so why I build what I build? I build what I build more
Right.
for, and I don't mean like regular cars, more this movie scene stuff for the wow factor, because it resonates to almost everybody. Like when I
Right.
built them lowriders and I put a car show scene, not everybody relates to lowriders. In fact, very little people relate to lowriders out here.
Right.
Um, but I do, and I love the way it looks. But you take that to a big show, RPM meet or Massachusetts or whatever, and you take it to a show and they see it, they're like, oh, that's cool, but they don't
Right.
really get it. But when you put movie stuff, TV stuff that
Right.
they grew up watching, they go straight to that and just love that. So
Right.
I'm focusing more on that stuff now for the wow, for the ooh, ah, how cool is
Yeah.
this?
Right. Right.
And I'm going to expand on it. So I got these two train modules from this train club that I'll be hooking up with as soon as the modules are done. And I'm going to have two 4x2 modules full of famous TV movie stuff.
Okay.
And I'm even going to build a very small, probably a foot and a half wide by maybe 2 foot deep or maybe 3 foot deep of Hill Valley from Back to the Future
Right.
on top of that. So your screen just unglitched. I can see
Oh,
you
you can
moving
see.
now.
Oh, you seeing
Yeah.
it like fluently?
Well, as I say that, it now freezes, but it's it's
Okay.
it's freezing less, and you're moving more. I'm
Okay.
thinking it's
Cool.
weather related. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking.
Right.
Because both our
Yeah.
states
Yeah. I
got
can
some
see you
massive
moving a
storms
little
going
better
over it
too
right now.
now.
Yeah,
I can see you moving a little better too now.
yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna have the slideshow over this, but
Okay.
you know.
Cool.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm focusing on more is trying to get more people involved. And what I want to do when I'm done with these two modules, I want to put these little red buttons like all over the place on the front of the modules, and
Right.
each button have like maybe a light that'll light up in certain part of it, and
Right.
maybe have sound bites. I want electrical sound bites to where, like, if you hit a button here and Hill Valley's behind the button, then you can hear the music, you can hear the sound effects from the car, and stuff like maybe stuff doesn't move, but the noise happens to where
Right.
you hear it and you're like, if I didn't know where that city was from before, now I definitely do.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm going to have a whole bunch of stuff in such a small area that I'm gonna have a whole bunch of buttons for people to push. I don't know the electronics on all that, so I'm gonna have to figure out something in order to get sound bites to work when you hit the button.
Right.
Because I also want them to shut off at a certain point, so they're not playing after you hit the button and it just stays on forever.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
like 10 seconds worth of a sound bite. That way you get it, it's done, it's over, go on to the next button.
Right. Gotcha. Definitely. Yeah,
Because
that
I
would be
also
cool.
got I just bought some Harry Potter figurines from Indonesia, and
Mm.
I'm gonna have two Harry Potter scenes on this that are split from a wall. I'm actually gonna build a
Right.
train station of Harry Potter, and then an outside scene with a wall separating of the school in the background, and then Harry Potter and his friends and whatever the bald guy was with no nose
Right,
shooting lasers at each other or whatever they
right,
were doing, wand fighting. So I wanted like a button to have like noise emulating that, and then
right,
LEDs that like flash like they're doing wand magical stuff to each other.
right.
So
Yeah,
it's gonna be full, man. It's gonna be full of stuff. It's
right,
gonna be one of the neatest things anybody's ever seen if I could
right,
ever get to it. I haven't even
right,
started on it, but
right,
I'm gathering a bunch of crap for it though, like a ton of crap. I'm just
right.
buying. So when I do get to it, I'll have a lot of stuff ready for me.
Nice, nice, nice. But I know you're
And you
gonna
got
do
it.
the
Oh, go ahead.
the the but that's you probably can see it there.
Yeah,
That building, yeah, that's Joseph Bolivar's building right there
nice.
on the right side. So, but I know you're gonna do the pretty much the slideshow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it's not a big building. It's not a big garage or whatever, but it's just big enough. You don't
Yeah,
need
you
this
just want to,
huge.
you know, well, the real building in real life is bigger than that. But
Right,
let's face
right.
it, we're not rich. We don't have mansions where you can put a whole
Exactly.
city in your house. But
Right.
you
Not
just
yet,
want
at
to
least we don't have
capture,
it.
yeah, you just want to capture, what,
Yeah, the essence of what you're trying to portray.
right,
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's really cool. I like that a lot. And it's not a small diagram, but it's not big at all. It's
right.
just a perfect size, and it looks like you can get from any angle to get different kind of perspectives for different scenes, and it's all on the same little layout, which is really cool.
Well, I like what you said in one of your videos. Like you said, when you do your dioramas, you're not trying to absolutely capture it to a T. You're just
Right.
trying to get it to be functional.
Yeah.
So same thing with me. I just want to be able to, like, real bus enthusiasts would know what that is.
Right.
And you get different angles of it, and it looks it looks good.
Yeah. And that's all you really need. You just need it to look good. You need it for
Right,
when somebody looks at it, they're like, I know what that is.
right,
It doesn't
right,
have to be exact. They just have to see it in their head, remember what it looked like, and be like, yes, that's it. And that's
right.
that's done.
Yeah, I would
And
need two of these rooms that to actual have the actual layout of the real ABC.
oh man, that's wild.
Yeah,
How big is
it's
the room you're in
huge.
now?
Um, it, yeah, it's a pretty decent sized room, but let's just put it this way: ABC companies, their lot, they probably can hold about 1,000 buses
Holy
because it's a
crap.
dealership.
That's dude, I can't even imagine how big that place is then.
Yeah, it's a dealership, man. So
Wow.
it's a dealership. So I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
you
you
can
got
kind
you
of
got
use your
enough.
imagination.
Yeah, you got enough what you need in order to emulate what you need and take photos and display it and people to
Right.
know what it is. You don't need a whole two rooms full of just one bus
No,
station.
no,
We ain't
no,
miniature Wonderland.
no. Right.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned, it's just got to look good enough because when I first built that first Ghostbusters car, it was the video game version, and I
Right.
built it according to the video game uh look. So with all the little decals, the extra decals, and you build that, and everybody just looked at it and knew what it was. They didn't know
Exactly.
if it
Right.
was the first one, it was the second one. They just said that's the movie car.
Right.
And it was never the movie car. But they looked at that and said, that's the
Right.
movie car. So it just
Exactly.
has to look
That's
familiar.
all you need.
Right.
That's all you need.
So and I say this every once in a while. I don't say it a lot because I don't really get a lot of people that reference stuff like that. But if I could just do a little bit to help somebody out with perspective, with an idea, and they go ahead and run with it,
Right.
I feel like I did my job. Like, I don't have to make you see it that way, but if you did see it that way and it worked for you, that's great.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Because I
Sure.
understood it, and I just hope other people understand it.
Right. I would love to see somebody do this diagram and do the whole thing. That would be fun. I don't look at it as them, one upping me. I'm like,
Right.
hey, that's what's up. I like it all. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That yeah. It's neat that, you have an idea to build something. You want to build it into how you can make it work for you, but at the same time, if somebody did it better or bigger, go for it.
go
Because
for it,
then that
man.
just feels me like, oh, well, maybe you saw mine and got the idea to build yours off of
Right,
mine, maybe.
right,
I
right,
don't
right,
know. And then if they were to tell you, yep, yours is where I got the idea from, then it's even better.
right. I've actually had people hit me in my inbox and say, yo, I appreciate your diagram because I never thought of making my own private bus company.
I
And I
mean,
said, really?
I ain't gonna
And that,
lie. I don't think most people are thinking that.
yeah. So I've seen some guys dioramas where they got a bus and they put their own name on it. They created they
Yeah,
sat
yeah,
there and thought of a name, and I said, yeah, why not? Like Greyhound is not the
exactly.
only bus company out here. Do your own company.
Well, here's what's so funny about that. This is a true story.
Right.
I've been using the username Halfasskustoms for 15, 18 years on websites, forums, everything.
Right.
And about 7 years ago, either in Canada or New York State, there is now a full-size one-to-one scale custom car company called Halfass Customs.
Mm-hmm.
So every couple of months, I Google that name to see what searches are up there and if I was the only one, and I was the only one forever. And then all of a sudden, there's this custom car company, and I reach out to them, and I have all the emails, the Google, the Yahoo, the
Right.
Gmail. I just don't have an AOL. I don't think anybody has AOL anymore. But I have all the emails that affiliate with Half-Ass Customs, and I get a lot of emails asking, "Hey, I like that video you did about that car. How did you put that certain engine in? Where'd you put those motor mounts? How'd you do this?" I'm like, "That's not me." But I emailed
Right.
that guy because I didn't have the phone. He didn't have a phone number up. I emailed him with my email, and I said, "Hey, that's an interesting name. How'd you come up with that?"
Mm-hmm.
He never got back to me. I
Mm.
know he saw it though.
Right.
And I think I can't get mad at him because it's a great name for one. But
Right.
I also didn't patent the name.
Right.
So I can't be mad that he took a great idea because one, it is a great name for if
Right.
you do custom cars or whatever. And he's actually doing something I wish I could be doing by building real cars. He builds the big ones, I build the small ones.
Right. Right.
But
That's funny.
yeah, and I want to say that there was no way he thought of that name on his own. So he must have saw something at
Yeah.
somewhere, some point with that username and said, I wonder if there's an actual company with this name. Let
Right.
me figure out how to do this.
Right. That's
But
funny
yeah,
you brought up that story because I have a driver friend that I know, and he called me one day and he was like, man, yo, there's this bus company, man. They stole your name. I said, what are you talking about, my name? He said, man, I saw this company. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. They stole your name. They stole your name. They stole your name. This went on for months. So finally, he saw the bus and he took a picture of it and he sent it to me. And the actual company was called Prestige, not Prosperity. But
close.
the funny thing about it was the fact that he thought about me so much over some
Right.
model buses that he was really offended. He said, yo, somebody saw your pictures online and stole your identity and made a
Right,
real
right.
one.
That's
So
funny.
it, you never know. You really never know.
Well, here's another funny story. Side
Right,
note, not dealing with models, but I use that username for almost everything. And so obviously my PayPal is Halfass Customs, same
right.
way I spell it with everything. And a friend of mine that did did this, I don't know if you can see, did this inner tattoo right here.
Right.
He was or still is married to this lady that also liked that name, I'm guessing from him.
Right.
And instead of using the K for customs, she used a C. So she has half-ass customs with a C. And for the very few people that want to write out the PayPal address instead of just copying and pasting it, they always put a C. And I
Right.
said, I never got the money. And then I have to ask them, how'd you spell the customs? And I say, now you got to reach out to that lady who has this email and try and get that money back because it's not
Oh,
me.
oh
But I
man.
know the lady and I haven't spoke to her since I left California.
Wow.
And I don't even know if she still uses that email or if that's
Right.
just a long lost email that they never look at anymore.
Right.
But yeah, funny side note to that, like that
Wow.
name is, people like
Right.
that name, even though it's not a very conventional name.
Hey, you'd be surprised. You really be
Well,
surprised.
here's another funny side note. My daughter is doing track this year in high school, and the school's got a website, their website that they want you to log into to buy the
Hmm.
tickets. Like you can't give cash no more. They don't sell it at the new desk. They just want you to go online to their website and buy it. Well, because I have ass in the name of my email, I
Hmm.
can't use it to buy tickets. It won't
Right.
allow any cuss words or vanity
Right.
words to be used in a school website. So
Okay.
I have to tell them every time I can't buy a ticket. And look at
Mm.
my email. It won't allow this email. And they're
Oh
like,
man.
"Oh, it's you again. Just go in." It's like I'm getting
Man.
known around the local schools around here.
Wow.
So loophole. If you want free tickets to a sports game that your kids are in, just make up a email with a cuss word in it.
Oh, okay. Right. Nice. Yeah. Hey, you'd be surprised some of the doors just your models will open up for you. I had a guy
Yeah.
hit me up in my DM one time and he said, I got a question for you. I said, yeah. He said, how much you charge to charter a group up to New York? I said, what are you talking about? He said, don't you own a bus company? I see all your pictures on your
Wow.
Facebook. I said, those are not real.
How
Now,
how many little figurines do you need in my buses?
yeah, right. He
I'll
really
ship
tried
it
to
up to New York for you.
right. He tried to really charter a real bus up to New York, man. I said, I thought it was obvious that they were models, but some people did though. They just don't pay attention. They just glance past the
Right.
page. So
That
yeah,
that's
you
funny.
just
It's neat, but it's funny.
right, right,
I mean, I think like a lot like like that compliment, like they thought it was real
right,
because they weren't looking hard enough, or you just did a great job in taking a photo or making the model. I think one of the biggest compliments is if
right,
anybody comes up to you and goes, I thought that was real.
right, right, right,
And it's not very often you will get a compliment like that because everybody that's in our hobby knows we are
right,
doing this as a hobby. That's what we
right.
do. So they know it's a model. But if you get those outside people that may
Mm-hmm.
go to a model show or a train show or whatever, and your stuff is there, and they said, "Oh, I've been following you a while, and I thought some of these were real." That's like
Right. Yeah.
probably one of the biggest and best compliments you can get.
Especially when you take them outside. I want to take that diorama I just showed. I want to take that
Mhm.
outside.
That'd be cool to get some natural light on it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Right. And maybe get some trees so you get some shadow effect on the parking
Right,
lots.
right.
That'd be kind
Yeah,
of cool.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Or even if you were to get like a make a cardboard cutout with the windows and stuff and put that on the side of your parking lot so it looked like there was a business building shining through
Right.
You know, I mean, there's like a ton of crap you could do
Right.
to a diorama that's not on the diorama itself, just in the way you take a photo in and have the light shine on it and whatnot.
Right. 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 Right.
But yeah, I mean, that thing would be neat. You have, so I'm assuming you haven't taken it outside yet.
No, I haven't, but I definitely want to before the summer's out.
Yeah, man, it's gonna go before it gets here. I mean, hell, it's been so hot out here lately. You feel like it was summer, and it's not even here
Right.
yet.
Yep. You're right about that. You're right about
So by
that.
the time summer does get here, it'll probably be fall.
Yeah. I mean, the way this year's going by, I mean, we're already in June next month.
Yeah,
I
you
thought it
know,
was just New Year's.
shoot, it was just New Year's. We blinked and it
Right.
disappeared.
Man.
Like, how is it that as old as we are getting, the days and weeks and years, no, not the days, not the work days, your weekend days, your weeks, your years fly by, but your work days seem to just last for absolute ever, and it takes way too long to get through it.
It's ridiculous.
But
Absolutely
everything else in your life flies by. Your sleep isn't
it's
enough.
ridiculous.
Your evenings aren't long enough. Your weekends aren't nearly long enough, but your work day will take absolutely forever.
That's why we gotta find jobs where we could just build dioramas
Shoot,
and do
be like Tim
YouTube and stuff.
Patterson. You need a
Right.
job
You
like
know?
Tim's. Just take pictures and build models all day.
Oh man, right? I would love that.
Shoot, we'd all love that. If we didn't have to worry about money like we do,
Oh,
man, we'd be a lot
what?
more happier.
Like I said, I would have had Port Authority in my house.
Right. You
Port
would have
Authority.
added on to the house just to build that model.
Just to build that model.
Well, it's funny you say that because there was a TV show on HDTV 2 years ago. It came out during the pandemic, but was filmed before the pandemic. And it was a TV show about this couple that lived, I think, in New York. They traveled the country to find old cheap houses. And that's what the show was called, Old Cheap Houses. They
Right.
basically would feature the house, tell you how much it was, which would be an astronomically low price. And some of these houses were move-in ready, some of these houses needed complete remodels. But the point of me telling you this is a bunch of web or apps on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever that are other companies that show these cheap old houses. And what I'm saying by cheap, you can find, like, say, a 4,000 square foot, a turn of the century house, move-in ready, that was already remodeled years ago, and for like 200, $300,000. They're like
Wow.
4,000 square foot, maybe 4 to 5 bedrooms, attic and basement. And you look at some of these houses, at least I look at some of these houses, and I see these fully finished attics that look like ballrooms. And you
Right,
think,
right.
imagine the layout you could put in that
Yeah,
attic.
man.
Oh my goodness. It,
Yeah.
the possibilities are endless because some of these attics are the size of my whole house, square footage wise.
Have you seen some of these new modular houses that they building where they got the attic up top?
Um, yes and no.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they're
I've seen
huge. I
modular
mean,
homes,
you
but
you could probably put a whole diorama city up there.
hmm, yeah, that better be a insulated attic though,
Well, you know,
because
you got to pay
you
extra
gonna
for
hate life in the summer.
that. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
The
right.
bottles are gonna melt right in front of you.
Yeah, right, right, right.
No, but that's the thing. Like, and then I see, like the attics may be just as big as like my whole house, and some of them got basements that are just unbelievably big, and you think, for $200,000, move-in ready, I could have all this.
Right.
Although most of these
Yeah.
turn of the century houses are little tiny towns in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
and in order to live out there, you'd probably almost not need to worry about money once again because there are no jobs for one. You live in the middle of nowhere, and
Right.
it's probably hours away from the nearest city. So,
Right.
the only way you're moving there is if maybe you're retired and you literally don't need to worry about money.
Right. Right. Right.
But it's just a thought. It's the thought of having something that big with that much square footage to do whatever you wanted with.
Man, oh man, I would lose my mind.
I think we all would.
Yeah, I would lose my mind.
Because I've been to Ken's house, Ken Patterson's house. He doesn't have a big house, but
Right.
the basement is literally the width of the whole house. So he's
Right.
pretty much got a 2-story house with the basement being the first floor and the house being the second floor.
Right.
And it's not big, but he's done so much with it. It's crazy. So I can't
Right.
imagine if you had, say 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square foot of a house, and half of that easily is the attic and the basement.
Right.
I mean, that's just insane.
Amazing. Amazing.
But yeah, you can find those houses, but
Right.
you'd have to almost be retired in order to like pull the trigger and say, yeah, I'm moving in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
One of
Well,
these
I don't
days,
know if
Theodore.
anybody's
One of these
ever
days.
I don't know if anybody's ever said this to you, but I want to say I appreciate your platform and the videos that you do because I'm I'm fairly new to the hobby, and there's a lot of names and people out here who have done great things in the hobby, but because I'm new, I don't know who they are. So because of your show, introduce me to these people, like you said, a Ken Patterson, or like for almost a year or two, I was on the 187 group, and I would get likes from different guys in the group, and I didn't know who these guys were.
Right.
But then when I watch your show, I'm like, man, I got a like from a Mike Buddy.
Right. Right.
Now, normally I'm like, okay, he's just another modeler. But then when I look at his history, I'm like, wow, this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Right.
This
He's a celebrity in this scale hobby.
that's literally, and
Yeah.
I would have known that unless I seen your show. So a lot of these guys, I didn't know who they were, but because of your show. So I appreciate your platform.
Yeah, man. I thank you. I appreciate that. That's literally why I made this channel.
Right.
Was strictly for that one reason. The pandemic hit. We weren't being able to go to shows. Some people might have had a job where they were getting laid off from, so they weren't having money to build. But we couldn't be together. We couldn't show our stuff. Like most people kept on building and kept on customizing whatever, kept on collecting. But the few people that didn't because they may have lost their job or whatever, you know, this was literally for that. It was, you see their post online, that and you see their description. That's all you see.
Right.
That's all you know of that person. This was literally that, to get to know the modeler, the collector, the person that likes your photos, the person that comments on your stuff, to get to know them, and everybody understand everything that's what their world is.
Right.
And I appreciate you, like I
Right.
said in the beginning, coming on here for a second time. That's awesome. I encourage everybody to come on multiple times. I mean, Joseph Bolivin's been on 3 or 4 times. And he is even fairly new to this hobby. Believe it or
Really?
not, he hadn't been
Wow.
building that
Really?
long.
Wow.
He was able to, I guess, offer something. And I won't say it was a 3D printing, but he offered a style,
Right.
or maybe a building skill that wasn't necessarily seen as much. And he was able to like climb quickly. And I
Mm.
think you're the same way, in a sense that you're, like we've been mentioning back and forth, you're the guru for buses. So you've got that whole market covered.
Right.
And if anybody's interested, which there are those people that are, uh, you're the guy they're going to want to come and talk to, because you know it. Like Jeff Noyce. Jeff Noyce is the ambulance builder. He builds all the ambulances. He's got millions of them.
It's funny you mention him because he hit me up in the DM one time, the ambulance guy.
Yeah.
because he wanted to build, because you know how they have like those buses where they treat, like where they send to certain sites and stuff to treat
Oh, like
like
habitat or like disaster cleanup buses.
yeah. So he actually hit me up about actual project he was trying to do, because he was
That's
looking
cool.
for a particular bus, and unfortunately I couldn't find it for him. But like you said, because of your platform, a few people have actually hit me up, because they say I got this project and I'm looking for this type of bus. I see what you're doing, and can you help me? And a few of them I was actually able to help them.
That's awesome. That's what's great about this hobby, and that's what's great about doing the show is,
Right,
you may not otherwise know this person
right,
or what they're about. So this gives everybody that's watching or listening the opportunity to get to know you and
right,
listening to you talk. That's a big thing because some people are people, like you can just
right,
talk to them, they can talk to you back. Other people are very quiet, like introvert kind of like. And then you watch that video and I'm trying to pull information out of them and they're kind of reluctant on trying to give it. And you're like, I don't know even if I contact this person, he's going to even help me
right,
because he's just quiet. He's to himself. But other people are out there. They're willing to share. They're willing to tell, and they get a vibe off of listening to you talk to know. Oh yeah, I can hit him up tonight, and he'll probably respond right away, or the next day, and I know we'll be able to talk.
right,
But that's what's good about the listening because when you're listening, you can tell the persona of that person and what kind of person they are.
right. I'm actually an introvert, but when you talk to me about my passion, I open up.
Well, I think that would be in most cases with anybody that is an introvert. I'm not an
Right,
introvert. I can talk to anybody about everything. Now,
right,
there are some people that I can just look at and be like, I am not going to want to talk to this person. I'll be polite, but as
right,
soon as I'm gone, I wish I never talked to them. Not in the
right,
interview process, but it's just in life. They
right,
got
right,
some people at work like that. I'm like, why do you work for? Get away
right,
from me.
right, right,
But yeah, I'm not an introvert. I'll talk to anybody about anything. And I've said this on several episodes. I'm not a bus guy. I'm not an ambulance guy. I'm definitely not a crane guy. I'm definitely
right,
not a lot of this stuff that most of these collectors and customizers are into. But it's the passion I hear in you that makes me want to keep talking to you. Because you
right,
could tell me a million stories about buses and they're just going to go over my head in one ear and out the other. And I'll be like,
right,
well, I learned some stuff, but it's not anything I care about. But it's
right.
the passion of the hobby that I care about. Because you have the same passion I have. You have the same passion that most of these people have. Even if it's just collecting, say none of you guys are customizers, you just collect. It's the passion of the hobby of the vehicles that we all like. That's why we do what we do. And that's what interests me. That's what lets me talk to you without
Exactly.
having any kind of
Right.
problem that I don't care about cranes, that I don't care about buses or ambulances. I don't care about diesel trucks. It's not about the vehicle. It's about the hobby in, or like so I can't even talk specific vehicles. It's not about I can't say it. And I just said it, specific vehicle. It's about the vehicle in the genre of all vehicles in the hobby we're in that interests me.
Right. You
So I
correct.
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I think that's a nice compliment, I don't get a lot of compliments about the podcast. I get a few, but each one, if anybody's gonna bother to give me a compliment, I'm gonna take that to like heart and be like, thank you very much, because like
Man,
most people I
it's true.
think only watches or only listens to the podcast, don't like it, don't even leave a comment. So I think it's probably just meant for background noise, and you don't get a reading off of that. They're seeing it, but you don't know what their thought is. So when you're on the show and then you see, I'm horrible with speaking, but when you tell me thank you, this is what that means to me, and this is what helped me, I'm like, oh, see, that was exactly what I meant for this to be.
I mean, it's true. I mean, I know how hard it is to start a YouTube channel because it seemed like the people that's doing all the drama and all that foolishness, they the ones to get all the millions of views and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you know, one person told me something the other day. They was like, it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
No,
So even though
that's the case with life, period.
right,
That's
right.
100%
So
true.
even though you might not get the millions of views, but you got some good quality people supporting you on your channel.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying about, like, when I first started talking about it, it wasn't about getting the million subscribers. It wasn't about getting, 10,000 likes. It wasn't about, you know, really anybody saying anything about the show,
Right,
negative or positive. It was just for me to try to get it out there for if anybody wanted to watch it, to watch it. And people are watching. I don't know how long they're watching it. I can look on YouTube and find out, but I don't care to
right,
do any of that stuff. It was just there for all the people in the hobby to get to know you. So if they never left any comment, it wouldn't bother me nonetheless. But it's still neat when they do that. And it's nice when you hear that in an interview, back and forth talking situation. Because even if you don't ever leave a comment on any of the videos, I heard what you just said right now. And I
right,
don't need that comment because I just heard it. And like you
right,
just complimented all the other people, like Mike Buddy or Joseph Livens, and all this other stuff.
right,
You understand it already. You don't need to have a comment, but you already like those people. You appreciate them. You complimenting them, and you know they hear it if they're listening.
right. Yeah. Salute to them. I appreciate you
Right.
guys, man.
Yeah, it's cool because I'll tell you what, like you said, like you couldn't believe that was Mike Buddy liking your post or commenting on your post. And
Right,
I thought when I was getting into hobby, it was like that too. I thought my buddy was at the top. There was a guy named Chester Fleming who
right,
he was one of the best. And then there's like other people up there, and you're like, these are the pinnacle of this hobby.
right,
And
right, right,
and I still don't look at myself like I'm anywhere close to their level. I
right,
just happen to build stuff that is eye catching. It may not be quality. It's
right,
definitely quantity, but it's
right,
not quality. It's just eye popping stuff that makes people know my name. It may not be the greatest stuff. It's just they like, oh, that's the Ghostbuster car guy, or that's the
right.
Lowrider car guy. And that's the only thing. If I was building the same thing everybody else was building, I'd be nobody. Nobody would know
Right.
me. I just happen to build that off the wall, unique stuff that makes people know me.
Well, you said something key right there because you say I'm like the bus guru. I just think I outpost everybody else. It's not that
You
I'm
will.
better than the other bus guys. I just post more than them.
Well, okay. With that, you do post more than any of them because
Right,
you're the only one in this scale that is in it as deep as you are.
right,
That post at all. There could be other collectors that aren't on social media that we know nothing about that know more than you do. But the ones that are on social media in this scale, you're the man to beat. You're the man that knows. And since
they're there, they just not consistent. Because I know a
that could be
few.
too.
I know a few, and I mean they got some absolute amazing stuff. I think I told you a few names before last time.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just
because
not
you were telling me
consistent
about
though.
other scales too. You're telling me about like larger scales and smaller
No,
scales and how.
187 scale too now.
Well, no, I mean in general, like the other people that were like big, huge bus people in this hobby. You were saying that this hobby doesn't just extend to this scale; it's like all scales. Like there's
Yeah,
huge collectors in other scales. Huge.
man. Yeah, they got some amazing stuff. But like I said, consistency. I
Yeah,
beat
man.
them in consistency. I
Well,
post every
that's
day.
yeah. Well, that's like me. Before I got COVID,
Right,
I was building every day and I was posting every day. And then COVID took me out for about 3 months. I was not building anything. I didn't even touch a model. And then to get back to the podcast, it took me about 5 months. And so I kind of was out of it. I wasn't really building nothing. And I
Right.
said, I got to get out of this funk because that's not me. Like I build. And this is now becoming me, the podcast. So it's like, I got to get to talking to people. I got to get back out. I got to put
Right.
myself out there.
Right.
And that just made me go head on to 164th and 125th. So now I'm not just building 187. I'm building all scales, and I build one from beginning to end, and I'll jump to another scale, build that from beginning to end, and I'll go back to 187, build that from beginning to end, and jump to another scale. So it's not consistent on one scale, but it's consistent posting. It's just not for one scale.
But you know what the good thing about posting is? There's a lot of people that want to do this. They just don't feel confident enough.
Right.
So when you show them that it can be done, that's what gets them out there.
Yeah. And that's what's crazy. Just like the movie cars, just like the lowriders in this scale, I'm not just trying to build something to build it to look like it'll blend in with everything. If I'm gonna build it, I'm gonna make it wild. I'm gonna make it different than anybody's ever built it. I'm gonna try to make it the best wild thing, not the best same thing everybody's built. There's plenty of guys that can build way better than me, but I want to make it the wildest, best thing you've ever seen.
Right, right.
Something that's gonna be so eye-catching. You're like, wait, what? And it may not be the best build. It'll just be the best, wildest, craziest build of that kind.
Right. We on the
That's
same
what I mean.
page. Everybody's doing Greyhound. I'm doing the dealership that sold the bus to Greyhound.
Right. Yeah, you got to change it up. You can't just do what everybody else is doing. And I'll tell you what, I think I've been in this hobby, this scale hobby, for nine or years. I think 10 years I've been into this scale hobby. And when I was starting out, nobody was building customs. Nobody's ever built a lowrider. The rat rides were very amateurish. They were building trucks, commercial vehicles. That was 90% of this whole hobby was commercial vehicles, from diesel trucks to plows to commercial vehicles of whatever, every version, sort, and kind. And I said, I cannot do this. This is not my style. I'm going to take my big modeling skill and bring it down to this size. And that's been my thing ever since. I won't take I built 2 diesel trucks. I built one into a custom lowrider with metal flake paint and flames, and I built the other one into a rat rod. Because I'm not going to build it stock. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I told Robert Kelly, the crane guy, I said, you send me a crane. I'm gonna put a metal flake paint job on there. I'm gonna make the tracks completely chrome. Look like a show crane that you wouldn't dare take to a work site. I'll put some flames on it. I'll have the whole entire crane boom chrome and gold. So it'll look like a lowrider crane. I said, and I'll make every one of those crane people hate me to death.
Right. I don't know if the video is messing up, but you see this RV I did? This is Greyhound.
I see it.
Those people probably upset I did that to that bus. Like, how dare you?
Well, send me a picture of that one too, if I can't find it.
Okay.
Because the one thing I can't do, I can't split up the video to do half a slideshow and then the other half the video. It's either got to be one or the other. And since
all right, I'll send you a few pictures when this video is over.
Yeah, and then the rest, I'm just going to go to the 187 scale page and type your name in and find everything you've ever posted and steal those pictures.
No problem.
But yeah, man, I'm glad that we were able to talk again, because I've always thought you were a nice guy, and you're fun to talk to, and you're super nice and chill, and like I said earlier, you get a vibe off of the person that you're listening to, and you
Right.
have an easy going, personality that, it's easy to talk to. So
Right.
I enjoy talking to you. I enjoyed it the first time. I enjoy it this time. I'll enjoy it every time we talk.
Right.
So I definitely appreciate you coming back on.
Definitely. I believe in supporting people, man. I like what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Like I said, if nobody's ever told you that before, love your platform. Very
You know,
informative. I learned a lot.
it's funny you say if nobody's told me that because I feel like every day I just get praise. Every time anybody says, God have mercy or please Lord help me, I feel like they're talking to me. Look at this beard.
Right. Right. Okay.
Not trying to get religious. I just feel very holy.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. We all gods in our own right. Lord is in us. God is
Holy,
in us.
entitled,
Right.
superior.
Hey,
But
you're doing greatness. Hey, it is what it is. Nobody doing what you're doing. Hey.
not, you know what? And I got this idea for making this podcast off of a guy that was doing model car podcasting. And so I thought, well, nobody's doing it for this scale.
Right.
Let me do it for this scale. Let me take off some of the cues and tricks that he's done and let me bring it to this size model. And you're right, nobody's doing it. Well, there are train podcast
Right.
channels out there, but not specifically model car 187 scale podcast. And then even on the channel, I've had to make playlists for other scales because there's not enough, even though our hobby's big, it's even smaller when people don't want to help you out and be on the show. So, you got to branch out if you want the channel to keep going. And then when I can't get nobody on here, then I have to make my own videos.
Right. But that's how I got started doing my bus videos, because there was a guy on YouTube. He was doing videos of regular buses, and then one day he did a video in his house where he was showing some models he had, and I really enjoyed the video. I was hoping that he would continue that on, and he didn't. I
Oh
said,
wow.
why not? So I
Yeah, I
said,
got it.
there's a void there. So let me
Yes.
go do it. Let me do it.
That's cool. That's cool that you decided to do that on your own because, and like you said, you're, somewhat of an introvert. So
Right.
usually a podcast and introverts don't go together. But like you said, at the same time, if you get into talking about something you love, you have a
Yeah.
passion for,
Passion. Right.
yeah, you can open up a lot easier.
Right.
So it makes sense that it comes natural to you to be able to do it, but also it's weird because you, like you said, are an introvert, and usually those two things don't go together.
Right. Right. You right about that?
So you're just a weird one altogether, ain't you?
Oh, I'm cool with my weirdness.
And you know what? I think everybody else will be too, because you're an easy talking person to
Right.
listen to and to talk with. So they'll be able to pick up that real easy and be like, I get it. He's cool.
Well, I appreciate you having me again, man. Definitely was cool. Whenever you willing to have me again, I'll come back again as many times you want, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. We'll make some future dates. Maybe your
Okay.
diorama get a little bit bigger, or maybe, I don't know. But hey, you send me some
Sky's the
pictures.
limit.
We'll make a slideshow, and this be a good visual and audio podcast for people to listen to.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, hey, I'll do the sign off if you want to hold on real quick, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Um, but everybody listening and watching the slideshow, I think the slideshow at this point will be over because you'll be hearing my voice and probably just a still picture of the podcast logo with the background. But either way, if you like it, please like and subscribe. I'll have Joe. I'll have Theodore's Facebook LinkedIn below. So if you want to message him about any more future buses or projects or information, you can do so. And if you are listening to this point in the podcast, like always, there is a Patreon if you choose to support it. You don't have to. I'm doing obviously just fine without it, but it's there if you want it. So until next episode, we'll see you guys later. Bye. All right, everybody. The video. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this different. I have to do this way different. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, Sam Denny, aka Halfasskustoms, and in this next episode, we've got a recurring guest. When you know, the guru, the head honcho of this particular style modeling, so 187 scale. You know him. He's really the main guy that does this particular kind of modeling. So that's why you know him. Theodore Campbell, the bus guy. We're going to talk to Theodore for the second time. This will be the second interview. And we're going to see what he's up to and get to know a little bit more about Theodore and everything he likes. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, everybody. That was Theodore Campbell. Now, I say interview went pretty well. Besides the fact, the video part of it ended up being a slideshow. Uh, this time of when this was recorded, we had some thunderstorms that I believe was causing the issue with the video. He was freezing up. He said I was freezing up on his end, and nobody wants to see a frozen screen while they're trying to watch this. So, in order for me to fix that, I had to make a slideshow with the audio in the background, which you be the judge. I think it went pretty well. I've already seen it. I haven't even made it yet. That's how good I know it's going to be. So, um, obviously, this is at the end of the episode, so I will have seen it by the time this is made. But right now, as I'm recording it, it ain't made. But I already know it's going to be good. Because, like I said, I'm good like that. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're watching this late into the episode, and don't forget, um, there is a Patreon. There's always a Patreon. Every interview I've done, for the most part, has got a Patreon link. It's been there the whole time. It's still there now. It's waiting for you. Check it out. And if you don't want to help out on there, because I think it's like a minimum, I don't know. I've never paid anything on there, so I don't know how it works. I just know you can help out channels on there. I can also put my email address in the link or in the description that you can use for PayPal. You want to PayPal me money. I take money as low as $50, as low as $100, as low as $1,000. Anything lower, I might have to say no. So if you're willing and able, you got $1,000 that you don't need. It's just like burning a hole in your pocket. I know all of you do. I'll take it. I'll be glad to take it. I'll hold on to it for you. I will tell you what I don't take: cryptocurrency, and I don't take IOUs. I'll give an IOU. I'll give those all day, but I don't receive them. So, you know, $1,000, $100, $50. You got a $25 bill. I'll take a $25 bill, but it has to be one bill and the amount of $25. You have that? I'll take that. That's the only way I'm taking a lower bill than a $50 bill. So figure it out. If you got a $25 bill, let me have it. I'll take it. But until the next episode, thanks for watching this late into the episode. Thanks for listening to hear me try to tell a stupid, funny story during this end monologue. And check out Theodore's page. He's a cool guy, very nice. He'll help you out. And he is the bus guy. So if you got any questions, I'm more than sure he's the one that knows all the answers. So check him out. We'll see you guys later. Bye.